back to another video. And yes, I'm posting a Minecraft video on a Fortnite update. He plays Fortnite still.
More and more essential to how teams attack, create, and just entertain. And if I'm being completely honest, this evolution seems like it
The
helped
only reason,
level
the only reason I'm playing this
of
because the movie
As of
and
recording
people are
this
starting
video,
to play it
Lamine Yamal
again.
has created the most big chances for the top 5 leagues this season. And in my opinion, he has single-handedly revitalized this position with his raw on-ball ability, stepping up for both club and country at just 17 years old. And although he might not be at the level of the wingers I mentioned at the start of the video just yet, he is 17 years old and one of the sole reasons I'm making a video about this position, spearheading this new era of the best, most creative on-the-ball players in the world. He also is a clear leader when it comes to attempted take-ons in the top 5 leagues. Standing above all your favorite wingers, Lamine Yamal has attempted 227 take-ons this season. That is crazy. And when you actually compare it to second place, it gets even crazier. Because in second place is Jeremy Doku with 164. That is a difference of 60 attempted take-ons. And these are not
Wait, if I did
just
this,
games.
like that.
Lamine Yamal has a 49.8% successful take-on rate. So that means 1 in 2 dribbles are successful every single time. So if you somehow tackle him on the first attempt, on the second attempt he's going to be leaving you munching dirt on the grass, maybe put you in an early burial. Because he's not.
Okay, so this is a spawn. Oh my. Oh. Okay.
Ruthless ability, and for me, the only other player that I've seen come close in recent times was young Kylian Mbappe. You know, when he was taking on Argentina, winning the World Cup at 19 years of age. This is the only player that I can really compare Yamal to. And even then, Mbappe was aura farming in the French league. He was at Monaco, then PSG, and the whole time he's in the league that isn't the most competitive.
To competitive, you know, it's good to be competitive.
Yamal is
Yep.
kid on the block, and he is just taking it there to anyone. It's on sight. Doesn't matter if it's Real Madrid. He is going to bury you. And what I really love about his play is that he's a creator first, an original type of winger. He's not someone that is always looking for goal. Most of the time, he's looking to pass. And it just shows you that
Aliens and like dying.
now, from a winger that recently spawned into this universe to one that has been around for years, a timeless player that honestly, would I really consider him a winger at this point? Or is he a wide forward? Is he just a forward? There's no point making a video about wingers without mentioning Mohamed Salah. Leading in goals this season in the top 5 leagues and assists, Mo Salah is showing that it does not matter what age you are, you can still ball out on a weekly basis. And even though this guy has suffered L's this season, one against Newcastle in the Carabao Cup final and against PSG in the Champions League, that does not take away the fact that he has absolutely dominated the Premier League to the point where
He's solely fucking.
I just. Yeah, you should just turn it off, it's fine.
redefining their expectations with his goal-scoring prowess.
Okay.
That doesn't take away any of his ability to create for his teammates, because as you can see this season,
YouTube music is just like most music apps, but also nothing like most music apps. For example, look at this toggle thing. That's kind of fun. Song, video, song, video. Get YouTube music free. Try 1 month free.
then he has 20 assists in the league.
He's silly. You can be quiet, right?
Crosses into the box, but after
Yeah.
the appearance of Mo Salah, under the tactical, system that Klopp had, him and the likes of Sadio Mane redefine this role, making them kind of a threat to the opposition in a goal-scoring sense.
Yeah.
Despite
Well, do you have anything else to know?
Yeah.
he is on track
Okay, guys, what did I say? Don't forget your.
of his entire career.
What?
27
Pills.
18 assists,
Tea.
making this video
Oh, okay.
You must brush your teeth.
Yep.
one of the all-time greats. And I think this stat that I found
Alright, bye, guys.
I love you all.
Bye, Mom. See you tomorrow. I mean, 6 hours.
Oh, shut up. Shut up. Shut up.
And even though we still see him bombarding numbers on the transition, he can be a conductor, take the orchestra. The guy with the stick is moving him out. That is Salah. And again, despite the setbacks this season, that does not take away any of the that he's achieved.
I was gonna play Fortnite for one day and he's quit. Yes, you will. Well, you want to be good at a game, you'll end this.
To change all operating in alternate positions on the pitch. Dembele is being deployed as a centre forward and is having his best season of his career. And in 2025 alone, he scored over 15 goals. That's not the 2025 season. That's since the start of the year, with big performances against the likes of Lille, Marseille and Lyon. He has hit a peak that we all hope that he can sustain, and I spoke about it in a previous video, but again, he's one of these players that has always had the talent, he's always had the ability, but when push comes to shove, he's never really done it. But now, he's in a system with all these other young wingers around him, he's looking like the elder statesman, and he's really being the role model in this squad. From being left out in the Champions League group stage against Arsenal, where they lost 2-0, to reforming his entire season, getting back in the squad, balling out, scoring goals, and now he has led PSG to a semi-final against Arsenal again. Bradley Barcola has also been flying high this season with 18 goals and 16 assists. At 22 years old, he's already filled the hole that Mbappe left on that left-hand side with moving to Real Madrid, putting up 34 GA as of making this video. But it's not just the goals, it's not just the assists. Again, it's the performances. Like his performance against Manchester City in the Champions League, where he was just toying around with these players. But I think what really impresses me with Barcola is that he is a traditional winger. He is comfortable to take it down the line, whether he's playing on the left flank or the right flank, keeping you on your toes all game and hugging the byline of the pitch. He can also beat players with ease 1v1 and get it behind too. And constantly when watching him play, he reminds me of a young Leroy Sané, just a bit more lanky and dangly, kind of like the slender man version of Leroy Sané. And on the other hand, PSG have another winger called Desiree Doué. Younger than Barcola at just 19, Doué has picked up 11 goals and 11 assists this season, and he is another one of PSG's wingers that has just displayed his brilliance constantly when given a chance. He has been widely compared to Neymar just based on his style of play. And although I think that's a bit of a stretch, you know, you've got to calm down a little bit. Desiree Doué does have what it takes to probably make it as an elite winger. Moving to PSG from Stade Rennais for £42 million as an attacking midfielder, Desiree Doué has completely altered the way his game works, expanding his ball control, manipulation in tight spaces, and ability to find space. Averaging 5
Why am I minding
6 aggressive carries per 90, he is a way to watch. Honestly, they're kind of displaying the same way in which he dribbles to the likes of Neymar, with every movement looking choreographed and fluid as ever. And lastly, from this crew of PSG wingers, we have to talk about Khvicha Kvaratskhelia. Helping Napoli win the Serie A in 2023-24, he was a vital piece of this team, scoring 12 goals that season and getting 13 assists. He formed an amazing duo with Osimhen up top. And with all this, his move to PSG just seemed to come out of nowhere. But ever since swapping the south of Italy for France, he has seamlessly slotted into Luis Enrique's system. Not the most clinical winger of all time. What I really like about Khvicha is that he is a high-volume shot taker. And I think the perfect example of this came against Liverpool in the Champions League, where he displayed that every time he got even an inch in front of the goal, he was popping shots and making things happen. And it wasn't just against Liverpool. In the next round against Aston Villa, he scored a brilliant goal, displaying the abilities of a really classic winger. But these ballers are clearly balling out for PSG this season. They've already won the French League, they're still in the Champions League, and if one doesn't step up on the night, another one will. We also have Nico Williams, who is one of my favourite players to watch whenever I get the opportunity. Playing for Athletic Club in Spain, the brother of Inaki Williams is again showing that he is one of the best wingers in football. Grabbing 9 goals and 7 assists this season, Nico Williams is third when it comes to take-ons attempted in all top 5 leagues this season, behind the likes of Lamine Yamal and Jeremy Doku. Averaging 3.45 successful take-ons per night, he clearly shows whenever again that he is a baller. He's not just a guy that is going to go shadow to Vinny Jr. and Mbappe. He's someone that can create an
That's
entirely
right.
new legacy at a different club, scoring 13 goals and 9 assists this season whilst not being the main threat in the attack. And since 2019, only Vinny Jr. and Benzema have more goals and assists, clearly displaying the lack of recognition that he gets. Michael Elise is another one of these wingers that again is just making his way to the top.
Gosh, I accidentally
His
pulled
first
out my
season
axe.
for Bayern Munich, he has 13 goals and 16 assists, and them numbers are only going to go up. He has transitioned amazingly, playing for Crystal Palace, being one of the main guys there, to having to take a sort of a back seat for Bayern Munich, where he's not the star man, but one of their best wingers. In my opinion, he's one of the most well-rounded wingers in world football, despite playing in the Bundesliga, helping Bayern also lead the charge for the league title too. Since confirming his transfer to Bayern, he had an amazing Olympic tournament where he was managed by Thierry Henry. Then he was called up for the senior team for France and started and scored a free kick, and all these things are just happening so fast in his career, and I think his trajectory is just going to go like this. And in the top 5 leagues this season, he sits second when it comes to big chances created, behind only Lamine Yamal.
I love to mine.
And Saka. And talking about Saka, he's the
Stop.
guy that I think and am I wrong?
I'm capping.
Somebody
I
tell me
hate
that I'm wrong. And you
I do not for this
know
one.
that John Cena did. Because as of writing this video, Saka had 10 goals and 14 assists whilst playing 26 games. And since writing this video, he has played 2 legs against Real Madrid and turned up in both of them. In the first leg, created both of the free kicks that Rice actually finished off, and in the second leg, he was the main man. And before this tie with Real Madrid, Saka was injured for 122 days. And despite being out for that time, missing 23 games, Saka was still sitting at 3rd.
Fighting a slime like you might know.
Chances created in the top 5 European leagues. Do you want me to repeat that for you, or should we just play it in slow motion and react?
In the top 5 European leagues.
Yeah, having played an average of 12 games less than the likes of Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, Michael Elise, Salah, Saka was still there, chilling with them, like he was balling out week in and week out, but he was chilling at home, doing therapy, playing FIFA. I don't know what else he does at home. Wish I knew. Think about the numbers that he would have been pulling out. Think about what could have happened, because Rafinha right now is up for a Ballon d'Or, and he's at the same stage of the Champions League as Saka. And talking about Rafinha, we're going to talk about Rafinha. He has been involved in over 50% of Barcelona's 83 goals this season. That is crazy to say. He also has like 15 goals and 5 assists in the Champions League alone, with a strong case for him winning the Ballon d'Or this season.
Always a special atmosphere. Really can't wait for this one. Bellingham!
Season, we will have to see how it all plays out. And from a winger that could win the Ballon d'Or this year to a winger that maybe should have won the Ballon d'Or last year, we have to talk about Vinny Jr. Now, I feel like every Real Madrid player's stocks are just completely down after this season. But can I really blame Vinny Jr.? No, not really. Because despite him having a very poor season, he's got 19 goals, 13 assists. He's still giving you the numbers, but he just hasn't given you the moments. And I think it's because all the spotlight has been on Mbappe. But just remember that Vinny Jr. is still that guy. He was Mr. Champions League last year and has been carrying Real Madrid. Of course, with Benzema, who eventually left, but this guy was a real pioneer for, the transition that Real Madrid went through. And fans turn on him just like that. Everyone turns on him just like that. But I can guarantee you that he is not that. We also have Newcastle's underrated duo of wingers. Nobody really thought I was going to talk about these two, did you? No one thought that. No one even considered that. And I think the last winger that I have to mention is Luis Diaz, because when you talk about this feeling of Jogo Bonito and just playing with freedom, it doesn't matter if he has a bad game, a good game, he's always going to pull out some sort of flary trick to just amaze the fans. Scoring
He has a nice
goals and getting 8 assists this season, he has shown to be a nice piece in that Liverpool attack. If they just
No,
make a
you
couple tweaks to
fudging
the
stupid.
they get rid of the shots, they get rid of the players, just a couple adjustments. Diaz will play. He's also playing in
Sorry?
of left back right now, Andy Robertson, and also Simic. And right now there are many other wingers balling out.
My throat is so dry right now.
I'm not aware of, but you guys
Doesn't
have
help.
to let me know.
Makes it
Who
more
the
dry.
current wingers and
I like
that are
ticklish.
getting you off your seat and really inspiring this kind of coming of age era of the wing.
How have I never done this before? Well, actually, I think I do know why. We find ourselves in a very difficult situation right here. So obviously we are surrounded by literally only hostile nations. This is not a political statement. I am talking about the gameplay. Pretty much everyone despises us here as Israel. And all these nations here are on one giant team. So I don't really know what to do. I feel like the AI doesn't really do all that much as Israel in this game. Sometimes I'll see them out colonizing, but for the most part they kind of just sit there. And I wonder if it's because it's actually very difficult to play as Israel. I definitely want to go up here and maybe eat a little bit of Cyprus, maybe eat some of these microstates in Europe. However, I don't know if it's appropriate to call this video Serbia's revenge. Did they already take their revenge initially? This Serbian nationalist shot the Archduke, leading the war into chaos. The Great War begins, and the rest is history. But you might notice that here in Serbia, a year after the war got kicked off, they kind of got blasted in 1915. Just both sides there. Yeah, but their allies would eventually, help them get back to being alive. It's actually kind of funny because I forget so often that Serbia is a part of the Allied powers. I mean, that really shouldn't be a surprise. Basically, the entire world is a part of the Allied powers. But yeah, just kind of funny to see France, the UK, Russia, Italy, the US, Japan, and then Serbia here as well. So let's go ahead and try to change this today. I'll be playing as a little old Balkan nation of Serbia. It's not really that little compared to the others here. During World War I, wow, these colors look weird on this map. The hell, a blue Germany, a yellow France. Why would they color it like this? Anyways, let's not forget that Serbia was literally just a part of a pretty massive war.
But I just need this one place to have a conversation.
This could be the biggest real-time strategy game ever. There's about to be hundreds of thousands of workers and soldiers at the same time. And this definitely seems to be the case since this is the giant map, and what if Ireland had a World War II empire? It's 1936, and the Irish are actually going to be a big threat to the Germans here, considering we have split up other islands nearby, like Iceland and Greenland. We've also united ours. We're not playing around anymore. My Irish empire extends all the way to the Anatolia Peninsula. Are we splitting up every single island on Earth? What is going on? The Irish have also conquered a part of Central America, as well as Cape Horn down here, stealing away land from Argentina and Chile. Of course, we needed a random... In 1 week since this video was published, Japan and South Korea are gone. What can I say? That means there's only 6 days left.
Clapped it
Now,
off.
I'm starting off pretty big here as Japan, but really not that big. I had a lot of success in World War II here in Dummy Nation as Germany, but I'm not so sure that's going to follow me here. I don't know if I'm going to be able to live up to the hype of the Japanese Empire. Hype is kind of a weird word to use. I don't love that I kind of have this massive puppet of Manchuria. Also, Menjang here. They're not even really puppets. They're just allied to me, so they're going to have a mind of their own. I do, of course, own the island of Taiwan, as well as the Korean Peninsula here in 1936. Not going to lie, I'm a little bit nervous if I'm even going to be able to accomplish what the actual Japan did here. We were literally as far out as South Asia, fighting the British Indians at the time. Doing air raids on Australia. I'm also not really that powerful. I'm in a strong 5th place in the world in terms of GDP. I'm also immediately starting off at war with China. That is probably going to be our #1 foe here. China's very divided, so the warlords might not necessarily come help them out. They might eventually call it the warlords, though. These other Chinese factions, like here, so, the communist Chinese here. My military kind of sucks. One thing's for sure, I'm going to stay as far away from Hawaii for as long as humanly possible. I don't need to Pearl Harbor anyone. I'm good. I would rather not. I don't really feel super good about this. Like, after I get out this stuff, I'm not going to be able to build that much more. We need more bodies to possibly do human experiments on. Oh, that's a dark joke. I didn't mean that. I deserve 2 nukes to be dropped on me. Get down that social spending. Now, we're obviously fascist, but that's fine. I'm going to change that. Let's watch very closely what my allies in Europe
Oh.
Germany just decided to go after France, because we do have French Southeast Asia over here. Of course, they are allied to British Raj with that. Though the Aussies don't look very powerful at all, really. That would put me into a war with the Allies, of course, but wow, that definitely looks doable. The first time in Domination where I actually think an Australian invasion is plausible. I don't know why this continent looks so impossible to invade. Maybe it's the wildlife that makes me super buff because of that. This all feels really weird doing with these things over my shoulder. Nice, that's exactly what I want to see. Okay, we have to move right each other. We also have the British Raj going after Nepal. Can't do anything about that. Did the Chinese just...
Alright, well, thank you for watching. It's gonna be the end of the video. Thank you.